What's up, dude? Today we're turning a few simple ingredients into the most rich, decadent, velvety, flavor-packed Bolognese sauce you'll probably ever try. Now let's go! Now for starters, you're gonna see most traditional recipes using pancetta, which is absolutely fine. I'm using a little bit of prosciutto today. It's definitely not traditional, but I think it gives it a better flavor. And I didn't get pre-sliced, I just asked the deli counter to slice me off a nice big hunk so that then I can come over here with my knife and just chop this into nice squares. They're gonna be pretty small. We'll go first this way and we'll turn all of those and we'll just slice through into these nice little squares. I got a pot on medium heat. I'm just adding a very small amount of olive oil, and that's really just to get this process started with the prosciutto or pancetta if you're using that. Now while the prosciutto renders away over here, we're actually gonna start cooking the beef in a separate pan. Medium high heat here, and again just a little touch of olive oil. I'll explain more of why I do this in a minute. And in we go with some 80-20 ground beef. You'll also see a lot of recipes that do a mixture of ground pork and beef. You can do that if you like. I personally like going all beef, but both are absolutely fine. I'm gonna season this a little bit with some rosemary salt, which is just a homemade seasoning we make on this channel. If you wanna learn how to make it, I'll put that recipe and link down in the description. It's just a mixture of salt, garlic, lemon, rosemary, and sage, but obviously you can just use regular salt in this sauce if you want. And a little Sergeant Gilbert reporting for duty, which is just some fresh ground black pepper. And what I'm trying to do here with this pan is get some really good color on that ground beef. So I'm actually just peeking at it like this, and I'm not flipping all of this over yet, because if I do, I'll essentially take a lot of energy from the pan, because that sort of uncooked meat on top will really stop the cooking process. So I'm really trying to crust one side before flipping it over. Just remember, when it comes to cooking, more color equals more flavor. The more color we can get on these little pieces of ground beef, the more flavorful our end sauce is gonna be. So once it has a little bit of color, now I'll start flipping it over. My prosciutto's been rendering for about 10 minutes now. You can see it's really beautiful and brown. Definitely got a lot of nice color on here. So at this point, I'm gonna add a little more olive oil as well as some butter. Get that all nice and happy together here. This is looking good. And once that butter's melted, I'm adding in my onions and carrots. Give it a good mix, which is just part of the sofrito you use when you make Bolognese sauce. I say Bolognese, not Bolognese, because I feel like an ass if I say Bolognese. I'm American. And you may have noticed there's no celery in here. I personally don't like celery in sauces that cook for a really long time. I just feel like that flavor takes over, so I'm just going carrots and onions strictly. Back to the beef here, and it's been browning away for about 10 minutes. And as you can see, it's got some really beautiful, rich color on it. If I were to do this all in one pot, there's just no way I would get that level of browning without burning some of the other ingredients that are in there. Next step, I'm going in with some tomato paste. And I'll tell you what, tomato paste and beef fat are best friends. And by cooking these up together right now and deepening the flavor of that tomato paste, we're just gonna make our overall sauce that much better. So we'll give it a really good mix in and just let this toast away at about medium heat. And as this has been cooking, you guys, I've just been breaking it up a little bit with a spatula, just so I don't have any really big chunks. And after about 4 minutes with the tomato paste, we are ready to move on. Our sofrito's been cooking for about 10 minutes now. So at this point, we're gonna add our chopped garlic and cook for an additional 3 minutes until that garlic's nice and fragrant. Now this is optional, but if you want a little heat, it's at this point you would then add some chili flakes. Just doing a little pinch, and you definitely don't want to burn those, so we'll move right on to the next step, which is to add all of our beef and tomato paste back in here. And I'm actually going to add some of my chicken stock here to this pan. Might as well get some of those goodies off. I'm just scraping that fond off the bottom of the pan. And you know, when it comes to really traditional Bolognese sauce, a lot of those recipes will actually use just water or just stock and very little tomato or no tomato. But just know, if you don't have any stock on hand and all you have is water, just use water. It will still be absolutely delicious. Don't let anything stop you from cooking. Don't let anyone tell you need to have some one ingredient or you can't make the dish. Just cook with what you have, man. Now this next ingredient is probably gonna surprise you, but before that, a quick word from today's sponsor, Element. Lately, I've been challenging myself to get better at a certain sport, and you can make fun of me all you want, but it's pickleball, and it is so fun. And while playing, I just noticed I feel so much better when I'm getting proper electrolytes. Element is an electrolyte drink mix free of sugar, artificial colors, and unnecessary ingredients. It's formulated for anyone on a mission to restore health through hydration, and it's perfectly suited for athletes, sauna lovers, and folks who are fasting. And I'm not sure if you know this, but if you're currently suffering from fatigue or brain fog or headaches, electrolytes can seriously cure that. They are a game changer. Each serving of Element contains 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. And these are not just random numbers, it's a measurement backed by clinical data. Simply mix a pack with water to enjoy the benefits of electrolytes. And to be straight with you, it honestly just tastes great. My favorite flavors are the citrus salt and the grapefruit salt. Anytime I'm doing exercise, I I always load up a water bottle and I'm good to go. And my subscribers get a free Element sample pack with any purchase with 8 different flavors, so you can easily find your favorites. Get your free sample pack with any purchase at drinkelement.com/ThatDudeCanCook. Also try the new Element Sparkling, a bold 16-ounce can of sparkling electrolyte water. Thank you, Element, for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the recipe. Now, this next step may seem counterintuitive, but this is when we're going in with our whole milk. Check this out, guys. We're about to have a little magic happen here. And what we're gonna do is cook this down and make a rich, velvety, creamy coating around the beef before adding our next ingredients. And you know, a lot of recipes will call for adding the milk towards the end of the cooking process, which you can do as well. I just really like this process. This is the more traditional way of making it, and I think it's really cool. You could even just eat this right now like this with the milk. It would be delicious. And as you can see right now, I've only been cooking this for 2 or 3 minutes, and look at that. It's already just absorbed in. That milk just sort of rehydrates the beef, and it just makes it really juicy and lush, as you can see right here. About 4 minutes with the milk, and I'm making a little crater here, to which I'll add my white wine. I crank up the heat a little bit now and let this start cooking out. I'm making a little bit of a lighter version today, which uses white wine and chicken stock. If you want to make this really, really rich, you could use red wine and beef stock, for instance, to send it into a new direction. But again, it's personal preference. I personally like the flavor of white wine more in cooking, but you can also use no wine at all and it will still be absolutely delicious. Just about 5 minutes with the wine. You can see it's really all reduced down. I really like to cook it off as much as possible. Now I'm going to go in with that deglazed chicken stock, as well as more just chicken stock here. And these are some crushed San Marzano tomatoes, as well as just a little passata, which is tomato puree, because I have it on hand. But you could obviously just get away with crushed tomatoes. We're gonna give this all a little mix. And I have a couple Parmesan rinds on hand. I'll throw those in there, along with a nice sprig of thyme. We're gonna submerge. And now all we need to do is cook this for a really, really, really long time. To be honest with you, that is the difference between a good bolognese and a great bolognese, is really the time you cook it. So for starters here, I'm keeping the heat just a touch over low. We really want this just to simmer away gently, and we're gonna put the lid on fully to start and cook it for 2 hours. And speaking of simmering, I've been simmering up a gaming channel for quite some time now. It's called That Dude Can Game. Click the link right there if you're into video games and subscribe. We're gonna have a fun time. And after 2 hours of simmering away, the sauce is looking really good. The meat is nice and tender at this point. We just need to further reduce it. But before doing that, I see that mine had a lot of excess fat from the prosciutto and the beef, so I removed quite a bit of it first. On another note, you can top off with a little fresh water if you need. I did about a half a cup. Now just leave the lid off and let it simmer until it's thick to your liking. And here we are an hour and a half later. I've kept that heat nice and low and it's just been slowly reducing down. I've topped it up with a little bit of water just twice so it doesn't reduce too much. At this point, you definitely want to give it one final taste for seasoning. For me, the seasoning is spot on. All we gotta do now is cook the pasta. Remember to salt up your pasta water, not too salty, but a bit. And I'm dropping in my pappardelle. Definitely use another kind of pasta if you like. Tagliatelle would be good. Use whatever you want. And you may be wondering why I'm using such a small pot, and that's because I want that water to end up really starchy, because we're gonna add it into our sauce. And any true Italian will agree that salty, starchy pasta water makes so many different pasta dishes better. Now take some of your sauce into a pan, and we'll add our pasta when it's about 80% of the way cooked. So if it says to cook for 5 minutes, take it out after 4. We wanna finish it in the sauce. And there's a bunch of water just dripping that's still on the noodles, because I don't like using a strainer. You could also just dump a little pasta water in like that. I'm just gonna cook it down in this pan for another 2 minutes, and then plate it up before finishing with either pecorino romano cheese or Parmigiano-Reggiano, whatever you prefer. Fork flip. Awesome.
Bolognese.
That was pretty good. Woo!
Shout out New York, shout out 518.
Shout out 707, Septown. Here we go. Oh, holy shit. If you're in the mood for some serious comfort food, one of those, like, I don't know, just when you want to just be quiet and just eat and just be in that place, you know, where everything's fine, just for a bit.
Bolognese slaps. Use the pasta you like, don't use angel hair.
The way that meat, because you cooked it for so many hours, it just dissolves in your mouth. And if you're looking to send this in a new direction, we'll put chicken livers in it. If you want to do that, you could use pork sausage, dried mushrooms like porcini would be really good. A little bit of cream in the end to make it really velvety, you can do that. Make it your own, but as a base recipe, this absolutely slaps. Make it. Thanks for watching today, my friend, and if you're a fan of written recipes, definitely check out my Master in the Making ebook, link down in the description. It's got 55 really delicious recipes just like the one we cooked today. And if you want to learn some more incredible comfort food dishes, here are 2 more of my personal favorites from my channel. Until next time, you know I love you and I'm out.